Hello and welcome to this yoga practice. This is Mindful Yoga with Yogi Beth C. That's me. And this is going to be an evening yoga practice to help you unwind, to chill out, to prepare for bed and a good night's sleep. I'm both a yoga teacher and a clinical psychologist, and so I know that yoga can physically relax our bodies and also can be a source of stress relief, a way to let go of the day so we can get a restful good night's sleep. So this practice is going to be all on the floor. You may wish to have a blanket, maybe a small pillow handy for later. We're going to start with some kneeling poses, work our way to our backs. We'll do some twisting to wring things out and some forward folding. So when you're ready, join me in a hands and knees or tabletop position. Setting up your hands right under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. We're going to take this nice and slow. So take a breath in, let your front body start to sink toward the floor on your in-breath. Reach your chest forward between your arms, tip your tail. On your exhale, reverse that, rounding your tail, rounding your chin toward your chest, finding your cat pose. And then as your breath starts to flow back in, reversing to your cow. When you start to feel the breath exhale, round up. Let's do 2 more like this, and then we'll vary it a bit. One more inhale, exhale. Starting to feel your back, your spine release. Come back to neutral. This time we're going to inhale into our cat pose, and we're going to continue that rounding as you send your hips back as if you're going into child's pose. We're not going all the way back. On your exhale, start to come forward, coming down to your elbows on a little mini sphinx or a cross between sphinx and cow pose. And then we'll come right back up, coming back up to hands, and repeat that sort of circular motion. Inhale, shifting the hips back. Exhale, crawling forward a bit. And continuing at your own pace. We're trying to unlock, unwind, focused on the spine, but getting the hips, the neck, the shoulders into this movement. Let's do 1 more of these circular motions. And then come back up to tabletop. 1 last move here. We'll slide both of our feet toward the right. And as you can see, I'm looking over my right shoulder toward my feet. Give a little peek to the right. Let your right hip come out to that side. Your right shoulder lean into it a little bit. So this is our side stretch. And then we'll move through middle to the other direction. Slide your feet the other way. Glance over your shoulder, let your shoulder and hip come toward each other. 1 more time on each side, moving your feet back to the right, kicking your right hip out, letting your right shoulder come toward it. Gaze only to the extent that it feels comfortable on your neck. Last side. All right, and then we'll swing the legs around and come into a seated position. Now, if you'd like, you can sit on your blanket here. We're going to sit in sort of a side saddle position. So you'll take both feet and knees over to your left. Now, they can be in whatever position that's comfortable. They can be more stacked like this. They can be more pinwheeled like this. You can have a blanket, but we are actually going to intentionally tip toward your right side. So no worries if you feel like you're a little tipsy, that's what we're going to do. Lean over to your right, have your hand a little bit out from your shoulder, so there's some space between your hand and your body. If your hand doesn't comfortably reach the floor, put it on a stool, a block, a pillow. Take your opposite arm up on a diagonal and take a big breath in here, perhaps turning a little bit in that direction. As you exhale, we're going to round the back and scoop the hand underneath or toward the opposite wrist. A few times like this on the inhale, expanding across the chest, reaching up to the diagonal, perhaps even backward. And on the exhales, twisting around and scooping. So hopefully you can feel this spiraling motion, this ringing out around your own body. Again, we're trying to move the tension of the day out of our bodies. One more time. And on this last one, you have the option to hold in the twist. So we're going to scoop back around, and either both hands will come down to the side. Maybe you come down to your elbows. I'm going to stay upright for today. This feels like enough stretch. I can feel it in my opposite hip. If you'd like, let your chin drop. Notice your breath, and we'll stay here for 1 or 2 more breaths. And then walk your hands back in. We'll go to the other side. Give your legs a little shake out, perhaps a mini windshield wiper or a little rock on your hips from side to side. And we'll do that on the second side. So again, find that kind of a side saddle position for your legs. It might be the feet are more apart. This back leg might be more behind you, or it could be a little more stacked. Definitely feel free to make the second side different from the first if that's what's comfortable on your body. Your left hand comes a little bit away from your body. We want some space, so we're kind of forming a bit of a triangle here. Remember that the in-breath is going to help us expand across the chest and the collarbones as we reach away. And then on the exhale, we're scooping under. So these motions can be bigger, they can be smaller. The goal is to find the degree of stretch that works for your body, that helps you to start to feel a bit of a sense of unwinding. It helps you to access a comfortable breath in the movements. All right, this is the last one, and then option to hold. So come around to the side, place the top hand next to the bottom. Your hands can be right next to each other, holding you upright. They can be on a block or other support, or if your body is giving you space, you might come down to your forearms. It feels more comfortable for me to do that on this side than the first side. I'm going to stay up here for my last breath or two. All right, and once again, help yourself back up. Swing your legs back around to front. This time you'll bring your left foot in close, your right leg crossed in front. This could be a tighter cross, it can be a looser cross, it doesn't matter. Find a degree of cross-legged that feels comfortable for you with the right shin somewhere in front. And again, if you feel like you're slumped or not comfortable, sit on your blanket or pillow. That's a perfect option here. So we're going to do a little bit of a twisting and a forward fold. We'll start with a side bend like we did before. So take your right hand toward the ground, doesn't have to touch. Reach over for a moment to your right. See if you can sense a nice big breath into the left side ribs. And then on your next breath in, come up. On the exhale, reach across the body with the top hand coming into your twist. The hands are just helping us hold the body upright in the twist. You can use them as a little bit of adjustment, but we don't want to overly pull in our bodies. We're encouraging a little bit of a gentle unwinding. We may have had a long day, we might be exhausted, so we want to gently move our bodies into these shapes that will help us relax and release tension. Last breath here. Spin around to the front, and now we're going to fold forward right from the hip crease. Start to fold, let your hands come in front of your legs. You may stay pretty upright and be here. You might find that as you're here for a few breaths, you have space to crawl your hands a little further forward. Whatever point you reach, you can stay supporting your body on your hands and letting go of the weight of your head by dropping the chin toward your chest. Forward folds can be soothing and quieting, helping us to prepare for a relaxing evening or letting our body and our brains wind down for sleep. You can either stay here, or if you want to bring a little more stretch into the side of your right hip, maybe even your right lower back, walk your hands in the opposite direction, so a little bit to the left, to the direction that your toes are pointing. Resettle in that place, and you might find if you've twisted, you're more upright, and then you can choose whether once again to let your body release a little bit, coming into a forward fold. And I notice more sensation around this area. That can feel great if you've been seated all day. So make that choice either to stay right to front or to the side. Find a few more relaxing breaths here. As we start to slow down even more and hold these poses for longer, you can also allow your exhales to be a little bit longer than your inhale. And then walk your hands in, come to upright, unwind if you were twisted. We'll do the other side, so we take the legs out in front, perhaps lean back for, again, a few side-to-side windshield wipers, or maybe a shake out of the legs. And then take your right foot in close to your body, left crosses in front, and remember that can be any degree of cross that feels comfortable. You'll see me scooching around a little bit on my sits bones to get comfortable, and if I wasn't comfortable, I would use a blanket to sit upright a little bit more. We'll start with our lateral stretch into our twist. Let your left hand come down, right hand comes over, slide out. You can have your bottom hand on something. Once again, we're trying to find breath in our side ribs. Imagine as you breathe in, the breath expanding in that direction. And next inhale, reach up with your top arm, and then take this right arm across the body as you twist, finding a support for your right hand, your left hand, where you're fairly upright in the twist, and you can feel your body has space to find your degree of twist. So you can back off from the twist if it's too much. You can gently put your hand toward your leg and use a little tiny bit of pressure to move more into the twist if that's what you need. And we're here for a few breaths. After your next exhale, unwind back toward the front. So we'll finish here with our forward fold. Start to walk your hands forward, folding over your front shin. Coming forward any amount. I like to come a little ways, make sure that my hip bones will come forward any amount. I like to fold forward a little ways, make sure that my sits bones still feel firmly planted behind me. I'm hinging from the hips. And then if my body gives me more space, I might walk out a little further, releasing the chin toward the chest to let go of the weight of the head. Finding a comfortable in and out breath here. If you'd like to shift this more toward your outer hip, we walk in the opposite direction. So walk your hands a little around to your right, the direction that your toes are pointed in. That's your little cheat or your reminder. You might be more upright here, or once you find the position, again, allow yourself to drape over your leg, your knee. Notice that shift in sensation to the outer glute, maybe the low back, maybe the IT band. And we'll hold that sensation for a few breaths. When you're ready to rise back up, start to walk your hands back in, lift your body up, turn back to center. One last little seated twist series. We'll take the feet in front in a cobbler's pose. Let this be a pretty wide cobbler, so feet don't have to be too close to the body. Let them come out wide. Let your knees come up. So we're not keeping the knees down. We're intentionally letting them come up because we're going to take the left hand to one knee, cross the right arm over to the opposite knee, and we'll do one more flowing twist. This actually helps release our mental energy a little bit because it takes a little bit of coordination of brain and body to do this. So holding on to your right knee with your left hand, we're going to release with the left. And just like we did in that other flowing twist, we're going to breathe in, reach back. And as we exhale, we're going to come forward, weave this hand under the opposite arm, take hold of the knee. That's a little bit of brain power. And then release your left hand, twist around to your left. Exhale back through front, same thing. Weave under. As soon as you grab the knee or the leg, release the other hand. So you're finding a little flow with your body, a flow with your breath. The ability to come back to front, find space as you unwind, to twist back around. And we'll do one more on each side, finding the width of your breath as you reach back. Exhaling and unwinding, reaching underneath. Last time, breathing in wide. Exhaling back underneath. And you can let go, maybe flap your butterfly wings a little bit. All right, we're going to finish up this practice in a lying position. I'd recommend you do have a small pillow or something under your head, a blanket. When we tilt the chin slightly toward the chest, that stimulates the body's natural relaxation response. That's what we want as we unwind down to sleep. So let's find a position where we come down, find the pillow right under the lower part of your skull, and you'll see I have a little bit of a tilt of my chin toward my chest. So you can arrange the pillow. You could use something higher to make that more comfortable. We're going to find one more twist and then we'll move into a constructive rest. So let's take the right ankle over the left knee in our reclined pigeon or figure four shape. We're going to keep the bottom foot on the ground. You might want to scooch it a little bit more to the center. And we'll start our windshield wiper, our half windshield wiper, in this position. Going back and forth. So a little bit more release for the area around the hips. Because everything is connected, you might feel it into the lower back. Now you have an option here. The option is to keep moving dynamically like this, letting your body gradually unwind. Thinking about breathing into the center, exhaling as you go to one side, and then same thing as you go to the other side. Or you can twist, and you can twist in either direction. You can let your right foot come toward the ground on the left. This will likely lift your whole body a little bit in that direction. It's a pretty strong stretch for the hips. It may feel good. If that does feel good, if that gives you a stretch that you like, a sensation that you like, stay here. The other option is to twist the legs in the other direction. Again, keeping this shape, but this time the ankle is going to be a little bit more to the outside of the left leg knee. And you'll see my legs don't reach the floor. I could put a block or something here. I could just let gravity hold my legs here. You might still be moving back and forth if that was the version that felt good to you. We'll be here just another breath. Come up through center. And again, parallel your feet, your legs. Take your left ankle over the top of your right knee. You can scooch the right foot a little bit more to center if that feels more balanced. And start to swing this whole shape, your whole hip girdle, your pelvis, your legs, back and forth into your one leg windshield wiper. Just notice I have a tendency to speed this up, but slowing it down can really help prepare and unwind our bodies. Again, exhaling as you go over, inhaling through center. Let's do one more on each side. And then you can either continue dynamically, or I'll show you the twisting movement on this side. So if you're coming toward your right foot heads toward the ground. You're in your figure four shape. When you get here, you might even use your hand on the inside of your thigh to gently encourage that shape. Feeling some stuff going on in your hips. If you like this shape, but it feels just a little bit too much sensation, take this bottom foot off the ground, slide a prop underneath it, a book, a blanket, a pillow. And then that twist in the other direction, and you see I slid my right foot a little toward the right, so I could move my knees toward the left. Changes the place that I'm feeling the stretch. Whatever you choose, let your breath be full, releasing into the stretching sensation. And then either after your last flow or your last exhale, come back through to center. We'll spend a few minutes in rest pose. So here in rest, I'd encourage you to rest in one or two ways. One option is to take your feet a little wider and let your knees rest against each other. This is called constructive rest. And it's a very quieting position. It allows the hip flexors to release. It allows the body to be supported by gravity. And then the other option that many find restful is to take the soles of the feet together and let the knees flop open. Finding a little bit of stretch for the inner thighs. You can lessen that by taking the feet further away from your body, letting this be a pretty loose cobbler's pose. I'm going to stay with the constructive rest. In either option, you can cover yourself with your blanket, or you can take the folded blanket like I have and allow it to be just a little extra weight right against your hips and your pelvis. And this little bit of weight can really encourage the body to let go, to release into gravity. Take a few moments to scan and release here. So notice the parts of your body that are touching the floor. The backs or sides of your legs and feet. Your hips. The bony parts of the back of your pelvis. Your lower ribs, your mid ribs, your shoulders. Let your shoulders have a little bit more weight into the ground. Perhaps do a slight roll to the left and use your hand across the body to create a little more space for the ribs on your right. And then do that to the other side. Roll slightly to your right, reach across, make a little more space for your shoulders to be wide, your ribs to stretch out in the ground. Explore that with your breath. So take an in-breath and feel it in your back body. And release. And feel the backs of the arms, backs of the shoulders. Notice the heaviness of your head on the ground. You need to reposition your prop to get a little bit more of that tilt. Let your chin come slightly toward your chest, creating space in the back of your neck for your neck to be long. Take a last moment or two to feel the whole body melting into the floor, letting go of all muscular action, giving yourself permission to fully rest. You can stay with that rest as long as you like. If you're ready to move out of the rest, move the blanket off if you were using it. Roll to your right side. In fact, if the blanket is there, you can let your knees rest right on the blanket. Let your head rest in your hands. Take a breath or two here. We don't need to be too eager to jump right back up. In fact, if you're going to bed, you might transition right into bed. If you have a few more things to do this evening, you can quietly help yourself back up. Come to a seated position. Thank yourself for your practice. If you'd like some other videos to help you unwind, soothe into sleep, I have a whole sleep playlist. Also try a mindful meditation after one of these videos to relax and release your thoughts as well. Thank you for joining me for this practice today. Enjoy your evening and have a great night's sleep.